Okay, so today we'll be going over the critical path of my level. First off, you can't go left. We start out in this Fireland area. I did take a lot of inspiration for this zone from the World of Warcraft Fireland raid, with the fire islands pouring lava down onto a lava lake. We also have a lot of dwarven pipes pumping lava out of the lake and down deeper into the dwarven mine. Let's activate in the middle lever here, opens the door, and then we can go inside. The first zone is height restricted, so we have to crouch down, and following the lava aesthetic of the whole level, I've got this lava ground area, and that's because of the height restriction, I couldn't use the normal lighting meshes that I wanted to use along the critical path, so I've just got this lava going along the floor. I believe it works really nice. Here we have a broken rail trap, just to break up the sequence a little bit while progressing through here. And the 6th rail spinner here goes at twice the speed as the rest of them. That's just to break it up some more. It's a lot harder to pass than the rest of them as well, so the player usually does take a damage, just as I did there. Then we get out into the first corridor, and these are the heads that are the meshes along the critical path that I used for to push the player along, just so they know where they are. I've missed the elevator, but here we have a little lava lake which is unpassable, so we need to go up to the top floor, and then we take a right. These braziers I've used along in this area and along in other rooms and areas that aren't on the critical path. I used them in this area here because the heads didn't really fit, they were too large. We have the pendulums that are connected to the roof on some gears, just for some raison d'etre. Pulling this lever will extend the bridge out of the lava, which we can then cross. Fall down, and then the minecart goes along, we follow it. It goes off behind because then we go into the main path. Again, I've used minecarts and tracks to show the player along the critical path, much like how in Skyrim dungeons they always have water going along the floor. If the player gets lost, they can just follow the water and find themselves back on the right path. So this is the main damage dealing part of the level, and usually the hardest part where players mostly die. So we've got the heads because it's the critical path. We're rejoined by the minecart, so we follow it down, go left, following the heads as well. Here we have a broken one, just to break up the sequence a little bit of the repetitiveness of the heads of the meshes, with some stalactites as well in the wall, just to break up the aesthetic a little bit, just add some more. Activate another trigger for another minecart. Sadly we can't go down there, so we need to find our own path, so we go left. This chain shows us that there's something here, so go on the mover, just move along this lake. I've added the chains to this level, this part, just to add some raison d'etre, because most players were just stood not knowing what to do. So we jump down here, follow the heads again, go down in this area. Had some trapdoors. It used to be 2, now we've only got 1 at a time, because players found a bug where because the signal was holding, it wouldn't reset on player death. So removing that second one removes the bug entirely, so we've just doubled it here. And a 4-second timer is on these. That's not intentional. Yeah, so these trapdoors are triggered by a 4-second timer. You need to hug the edge of the lip of the trapdoor and not get hit by the pendulum. You can just safely get across. We're back on the last push, re-met by the minecart. We chase it, get some just extra bit of health for completing the level, jump through, and the minecart carries on into the next level. This level should be taken in about 5 minutes, depending on how long, if you follow the critical path, and probably around 7 if you go into the extra rooms. Okay, and now we're back in the level. We're going to be going over the extra rooms and paths. So starting outside again, we have these 3 levers, knowing that the middle one activates the door, the left one activates some steam effects and makes a bird fly, and the right one just does some more particle effects. So for the middle one, open the door, quickly get through the rail traps. And then once we get to the elevator, we're going to be going left, and that will take us to towards our first puzzle room. So this room leading up is just squishes. I've done it so you can safely get through 3, and that's so the player has to stop here and can look at the back room and see that the forge has exploded with fire and has knocked over a few things to show why this place is probably deserted, because the dwarfs did something wrong with magic they shouldn't have been messing with. So we carry on, get some health just in case you took a few bits of damage from the squishes, and we get into the first puzzle room. Now this is a jumping puzzle, so the first pillar at the front goes to a path of 400, then a middle 5, and the third 600. And once we jump up, we're told to use the lever only once the pillars are fully extended. Doing so will activate the second row. Again, the middle one is matching the middle one at the bottom to 500, and the last pillar is matching the third pillar at 600. Just in case the player falls down or pulls the lever at the wrong time and they have to fall down, I've added a trap, a jumping pad even, that allows the player just to jump back up. Pushes the player left, so they always come back onto this pillar, because I found some players were able to use their own momentum to catapult themselves straight up to the top, and then are rewarded with some 5 armor. Then we slowly make our way back, and once we get back to the elevator, we'll have to go right along the critical path to carry on. I usually find that players find the trapdoor more rewarding if they don't do this area first, because they always lose a few more life or the armor they gained if they do it second, just as I did there. But it's entirely up to the player. So back into the first major damage dealing area. With the armor, it doesn't matter if they can take 1 hit from a hammer, as that deals 5 damage. So with that extra armor, they're able to tank it quite well. Re-meet the minecart and go right this time. Use the head here to while it's not on the critical path. I found that players didn't go right, and as it's on this level still, I felt it was needed to show the player that there's something quite important here. So going through, you're rewarded with 3 health, just to replenish anything that you might have lost from the spinners beforehand. Carry on down, back to the lava lake, and once we jump down we'll be going left to the second and final trap puzzle room. In here most players didn't really know what to do, so in this final build I've changed the meshes a little bit. I've put a single heart on a table just to get the players up here, and then depending on how observant they are, they can see that there's a pressure plate on the floor here, which will then activate this jumping pad, which will catapult them up here and reward them with a new weapon. And that's all the extra rooms of this level. So we'll just carry on. And we meet the minecart and follow it to the end. There's a second room there just for some meshing. Is when you jump through you can get a little bit further and possibly see the start of the second level.